The white canvas of life. It's a concept that has fascinated philosophers, psychologists, and spiritual leaders for centuries. But what does it really mean? And more importantly, how can understanding this concept transform our everyday existence? Imagine for a moment that your life is like a blank canvas. When you're born, it's pristine, untouched, full of possibilities. As you grow and experience the world, you begin to paint on this canvas. Some strokes are bold and vibrant, representing your achievements and joys. Others are darker, representing challenges and sorrows. By midlife, your canvas contains a complex tapestry of experiences, emotions, and memories. But here's where things get interesting. Research shows that most of us have a peculiar tendency to focus on the dark spots of our canvas, even when they're vastly outnumbered by the bright ones. Psychologists call this negativity bias, our brain's natural inclination to give more weight to negative experiences than positive ones. It's a survival mechanism that evolved over thousands of years to keep us alert to potential threats. But in our modern world, this bias often does more harm than good. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. In a university psychology class, a professor once conducted an unusual experiment. He handed out sheets of paper to his students and asked them to turn them over simultaneously. When they did, they found nothing but a blank white page with a single small black dot in the center. The professor then asked them to write about what they saw. When he collected their papers, he found something remarkable. Every single student had written about the black dot. Some described its size, others its position, and some even attempted to analyze its significance. But not one student mentioned the most obvious feature of the page, the vast expanse of white space surrounding that tiny dot. This, the professor explained, is exactly how most people view their lives. They focus on the small imperfections, the problems, the disappointments, the black dots, while completely overlooking the abundance of good things, the white space that surrounds them. This story resonates deeply because it reflects a universal human tendency. We fixate on the one thing that went wrong in our day, rather than the dozens of things that went right. We obsess over the single critical comment, amidst a sea of compliments. We worry about the few things we lack, instead of appreciating the many things we have. The science behind this phenomenon is fascinating. Neurological studies have shown that negative events produce a greater surge in electrical activity in the brain than positive events of the same magnitude. Our brains quite literally react more strongly to negative stimuli. Additionally, negative emotions generally involve more thinking and processing than positive ones, which means they take up more mental real estate. But here's the good news: awareness is the first step toward change. Once we understand our natural tendency to focus on the black dots, we can consciously redirect our attention to the white space. Consider the case of Sarah, a successful marketing executive who found herself constantly stressed and dissatisfied despite her many achievements. During a mindfulness retreat, she was introduced to the concept of the white canvas. The facilitator asked participants to list all the things going right in their lives, not just the big things like health and relationships, but also small daily pleasures like a warm cup of coffee or a beautiful sunset. Sarah was stunned to realize that her list of positives far outweighed her list of negatives. Yet she had been spending most of her mental energy ruminating on problems and worries. This realization marked a turning point. She began a daily practice of white space awareness, deliberately noting and appreciating the good things in her life. Within months, her overall sense of well-being had dramatically improved, even though her external circumstances remained largely unchanged. This isn't just anecdotal evidence. A growing body of research in positive psychology confirms that practices like gratitude journaling, which essentially train us to notice the white space, can significantly increase happiness levels and reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. One landmark study by researchers at the University of California found that participants who wrote down 3 things they were grateful for each day for just 3 weeks reported significantly higher levels of optimism and life satisfaction. But appreciating the white space isn't just about feeling better, it actually changes how our brains function. Neuroscientists have discovered that regularly practicing gratitude and positive focus can strengthen neural pathways that make positive thinking more automatic over time. In other words, we can literally rewire our brains to see more white space and fewer black dots. Now, it's important to clarify something here. Focusing on the white space doesn't mean ignoring the black dots altogether. Problems and challenges are real, and they often require our attention and action. The key is proportion and perspective. Most of us give our problems far more mental real estate than they deserve, while undervaluing the positive aspects of our lives. Now think about your own life for a moment. What are the black dots that tend to dominate your thinking? Perhaps it's a health concern, a financial worry, a relationship difficulty, or a professional challenge. Now, what's the white space that surrounds those dots? Your supportive friends and family? Your basic needs being met? Moments of beauty and joy in your day? Skills and abilities you possess? Opportunities available to you? The ratio of white space to black dots in most lives is overwhelmingly in favor of the white space, yet our attention often follows the opposite pattern. Let's explore some practical strategies for shifting our focus to the white space first. Develop a regular gratitude practice. This could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day. The key is specificity. Don't just write my family, but rather the encouraging text my sister sent me or playing board games with my kids. Research shows that being specific activates the brain's reward center more effectively. Second, practice mindful awareness of positive experiences. When something good happens, no matter how small, pause for a moment to fully absorb it. Psychologist Rick Hanson calls this taking in the good, a practice that helps positive experiences transfer from short-term to long-term memory. Third, conduct a white space inventory periodically. Set aside 30 minutes to comprehensively list all the positive aspects of your life, from basic necessities like clean water and shelter to luxuries, relationships, opportunities, abilities, and pleasant experiences. Most people are surprised by how long this list becomes when they really think about it. Fourth, use visual reminders. Some people find it helpful to actually draw or visualize their life as a white canvas with occasional black dots. This concrete image can serve as a powerful reminder of the true proportion of positive to negative in their lives. Fifth, practice perspective taking. When faced with a problem, ask yourself, how important will this seem 1 year from now? 5 years from now? This temporal perspective often reveals that many of our black dots are actually quite temporary and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. The story of Michael, a cancer survivor, offers a powerful example of white space awareness in action. During his treatment, Michael certainly had a significant black dot on his canvas, a life-threatening illness causing physical suffering and uncertainty. But rather than allowing this dot to obscure everything else, he made a conscious decision to notice and appreciate the white space, the compassionate care of his medical team, the love and support of his community, the beauty of nature visible from his hospital window, and the gift of each new day. Cancer actually taught me to see my life more clearly, Michael later shared. Before my diagnosis, I took so much for granted. Now I see that even on my worst days, the good far outweighs the bad. The white space is vast and beautiful if we just train ourselves to see it. This shift in perspective isn't just psychologically beneficial, it may actually have physical health implications as well. Research in the field of psychoneuroimmunology suggests that positive mental states can boost immune function and promote healing. By focusing on the white space, we may literally be strengthening our body's ability to fight disease and maintain health. Of course, some life circumstances make it particularly challenging to see the white space. During periods of intense grief, trauma, or hardship, the black dots may seem to multiply and expand. In these seasons, the practice of noticing the white space becomes not just beneficial but essential. It serves as an anchor, reminding us that even in our darkest times, goodness and beauty have not disappeared entirely from our canvas. Consider the remarkable story of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps during World War II. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl describes how, even in the midst of unimaginable suffering, he would notice small moments of beauty or kindness, a spectacular sunset, a bird perched on a barbed wire fence, a crust of bread shared by a fellow prisoner. These tiny patches of white space in an otherwise dark canvas help preserve his humanity and hope. Most of us will never face circumstances as extreme as Frankl's, but his example reminds us that the practice of noticing the white space is possible even in the most difficult situations. And often, it's precisely in these situations that we need it most. As we cultivate this awareness of the white space in our lives, something interesting begins to happen. We start to notice that the white space itself is not static or uniform, it's dynamic, textured, and infinitely varied. It contains not just the absence of problems, but the presence of countless positive experiences, relationships, and possibilities. The white space includes the warmth of sunlight on your face, the taste of your favorite food, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a familiar voice, the satisfaction of completing a task, the wonder of learning something new, the beauty of art and nature, the pleasure of movement, the peace of rest. It includes past joys preserved in memory, present pleasures available to your senses, and future possibilities awaiting your discovery. When we truly begin to explore the white space of our lives, we find that it's not just vast, it's also incredibly rich and diverse. And unlike the black dots, which often demand our attention through discomfort or alarm, the white space must be consciously noticed and appreciated. It doesn't shout for our attention, it waits to be discovered. This brings us to an important insight. Focusing on the white space is not just a psychological technique for feeling better, it's actually a more accurate way of perceiving reality. For most of us, most of the time, the positive aspects of our lives genuinely do outnumber the negative ones. When we fixate on problems and overlook blessings, we're not seeing things as they truly are. We're allowing our negativity bias to distort our perception. Seeing the white space, then, isn't about putting on rose-colored glasses or engaging in wishful thinking. It's about removing the dark filters that our brains naturally apply and seeing our lives more clearly and completely. As we practice this clearer vision, we often discover that the white space and black dots of our lives are not entirely separate entities. Sometimes, what initially appears as a black dot, a challenge, a loss, a disappointment, eventually reveals itself as part of the white space. The job loss that leads to a more fulfilling career, the relationship ending that makes room for personal growth, the illness that deepens appreciation for health. These experiences remind us that our canvas is constantly evolving, with dots sometimes transforming into space and space occasionally revealing new dots. This dynamic nature of our life canvas points to another important truth. We are not just passive observers of our canvas, we are active participants in its creation. While we can't control everything that appears on our canvas, we do have significant influence over both what we add to it and how we interpret what's already there. Each day we make choices that either add more white space to our canvas or create new black dots. The way we treat others, the habits we cultivate, the attitudes we adopt, the risks we take or avoid, all of these contribute to the ongoing creation of our life canvas. And equally important, we choose how to interpret and respond to what's already on our canvas, whether to magnify the dots or celebrate the space. As we become more intentional about creating and appreciating the white space in our lives, we often discover that this practice extends beyond our individual experience. We begin to notice and contribute to the white space in others' lives as well. A kind word, a thoughtful gesture, a moment of genuine presence. These simple acts can add white space to someone else's canvas, sometimes in ways we never fully realize. This ripple effect of white space awareness creates a powerful positive cycle. As we become more attuned to the good in our own lives, we become more capable of generating good in others' lives. And as we contribute to others' white space, our own expands as well. In a world that often seems dominated by problems, conflicts, and crises, a world that sometimes feels like it's all black dots and no white space, this practice takes on even greater significance. By consciously choosing to notice, create, and share white space, we participate in a quiet but profound revolution of perspective. So as you move forward from this moment, I invite you to consider, what is the white space in your life right now? What goodness, beauty, and possibility surrounds the challenges you face? How might your experience change if you devoted as much attention to the white space as you typically give to the black dots? The canvas of your life is waiting to be fully seen and appreciated. The white space is there, vast, varied, and valuable. Will you choose to see it?